Welcome, adventurers, heroes, and villains, to Burgschneider Live, your gateway to the realms of mythodea, epic LARP battles, and awesome historically inspired and fantasy costume. So grab yourself a tankard, ready your gear, and join myself, Nico, Mike, and Emma. Emma! No! What has happened? She was so young and beautiful. Clank. No, you treasure monger, you treasure monger. Look. Emma is unfortunately very busy at the moment. She has other tasks that are keeping her away. And hopefully we will have her back again next week for more excellent Burgscneider action you sorely missed.
It's loot.
Loot, yeah. Give it the loot. Is it real? All right, cool. Let's add it to the horde. Yes, so we're back for another week of Burgscheider Live, and we are very excited to be here. In particular, we were talking about Chronicles last week, which was an interesting thing. We talked about it in quite a bit of detail, but I feel like maybe we didn't represent it for the battle LARP that it is, and it's kind of a battle LARP. There's plot, there's action, there's adventure, there's all kinds of things going on in it. And I guess while we touch on some of the aspects of Chronicles, I'm just going to play some visuals for us in the background. So Chronicles, I feel like this trailer very much accurately represents. This was shot kind of last year, whereas the trailer that came out this year for 2025 was more specific to the plot-heavy sort of legacy plot engagement. This trailer kind of gives a general overall feel for what Chronicles is like. It's a sort of battlefield-focused event where there is plot, there is interaction.
Is it the same location, actually?
No. So this is the old location because of the issue. So basically it was, I think, this was 2024. We had Chronicles here, and it is a beautiful location. But as the amount of players grow at the location that we had it at in 2024 last year, we discovered that the facilities just weren't really up to scratch with what we were doing there. I think for smaller LARPs, it's great, it's so fine. But for what we were doing there, it just wasn't sort of cutting the mustard, and it's not the most desirable location. So most of it's a desirable location that's pretty, but it's good as a location because it's sort of close to parts of Germany that all of our other LARPs are kind of not close to. So we have to apologize to a lot of the people who would go specifically to Chronicles because it was in a location that was closer to them. But we just wanted to prioritize the facilities that we had coming out of the LARP, and also to be able to facilitate this kind of gameplay that you're seeing here, which is like battlefield, interactive, walking around, exploring the environment,
And the scale is growing too. It's a lot of people.
Scale is growing, it's a lot of people, and that's the good thing about the new location for Chronicles that we were talking about on last week's episode, is it really gives us the space to grow for like at least a few more years, unless, who knows, maybe it'll blow up really quickly. But where it is right now is sort of super, like, we're excited for the new location. That's old, it's outdated, sorry, like I said, 24 last year.
Tickets are on sale now.
Tickets, yeah, get your tickets to Chronicles. So that was kind of a look at like the feel of what it's about. It's that play to struggle, sort of characteristic play to struggle gameplay that you get from the realms of mythodea games, but with a bit of a more battlefield edge, slightly less less vendors generally. There were more vendors this year at Chronicles because we had the JDS location, and the JDS location
more space
for vendors particularly for like setting up the tubas, like you can actually have a proper trust going on.
Sorry, that sounds marvelous to me. You're gonna be just be there and chill.
Man, yeah, look, I tell you what, after a long hot day on the battlefield,
go to the tube,
just strip down, go in the tuba. Well, they have some saunas sometimes as well. We will a little later go through a list of the vendors that we have at JDS. Actually, a little excited to talk about that.
Just one thing, just Dragonfly, you can ask us whatever they will have right now. In any moment we will answer.
Yeah, pop in with any questions you like. We will get around to them when it's an opportune time or immediately. And thanks for asking. Of course, please.
Also, hi.
Also, hello. Welcome to the stream. we are, yeah, so we're kind of excited about that. But Chronicles this year, 2025, we saw what was the lead up to the conclusion of like a final story arc for one of like the elemental tribe plot lines, which was the Ignis tribe, and their sort of plot lines sort of coming to fruition. And we were actually, I was really lucky at Chronicles this year to have a little time backstage with the Dragonfly Queen, who was central to that plot. And while we could talk a lot about it, we probably don't know as much as these people.
Because basically they were living basically the plot.
Yeah, well, I think the Dragonfly Queen has been on this plot for 5 years and really immersed in the environment. And sorry, we want to quickly segue to say, what are we talking about? What is Chronicles and what is LARP? If you are new to this, we are Burgschneider, and as Burgschneider, we run a medieval-inspired and fantasy clothing company, but also we have an events wing that runs Conquest of Mythodia and the Realms of Mythodia suite of LARPs. Which is not all of the Realms of Mythodia LARPs, because there's a large amount of community LARPs in the Realms of Mythodia universe that are run by community members that happen during the year. But we, I guess Burgschneider and the events arm of Burgschneider under the Realms of Mythodia runs the bigger live action role-playing games in the Realms of Mythodia universe, which is 5 events, I believe, that we run every year.
Yeah.
And a live action role-playing game is where you, instead of it's like being in a video game, except you physically act out and talk the talk and walk the walk of your character in those environments.
You're your own avatar.
Yeah, in that world. And one of the signature aspects of the Realms of Mythodia LARP universe is that there are large non-player character or NPC or NSC factions. They're also known as, you were saying last week,
Playmakers, are you saying?
Yeah, playmakers. Yeah.
Who will have these passive storylines going on inside of their interactions, inside of their existence, that players can then interact with. And sometimes those storylines are projected outwardly, violently, and sometimes they are kind of more internally focused, and they're open for you to engage with. But always it's the case that you are a physical person playing a live action role-playing game in the Realms of Mythodia, a world that has ongoing continuity inside of the game. And so when we're talking about our events, welcome to the stream, Frivolita. I got your message, attending to it. I was actually just writing up my cards for the stream when you sent it through, so I didn't get back to you straight away, sorry. But there is some interesting news if you tune into the stream next week coming about Frivolita cards. Not the specific naughty Frivolita cards, because unfortunately that's a little under the counter, and as Burgscneider, we're a family business and we can't personally represent those. But there was a tarot deck that was created last year. Not last year, I think it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, and there was a lot of collection going around those Frivolita tarot cards, and who knows?
I got a little collection,
Yeah, I heard rumors that there might be something in the works around that. So
just in case.
Stay tuned. Next week we'll be talking a lot
Just
more.
say it's on the cards.
Until we continue, just like, thank you so much. I love your art. Here. I got it here.
Yeah, good times. So we were talking about the elemental sort of plots wrapping up and where that was going, and I was lucky enough to have an interview behind the scenes with the Dragonfly Queen. So I apologize a little bit for the sound. I had to put some mutes on it, so I'm a little loud, she's a little quiet. So listen in and hear what she has to say about her experiences for the last 5 years playing this one non-player character who's player interactive. And she's been a good guy, she's been a bad guy, she's been like everything. Anyway, I've said enough.
My name is Eva.
And what is your character's name?
My character's name is the Dragonfly Queen.
Oh, can you tell me a little bit about this character?
In the history of the character is that she was a former princess from Kalhatra who's gone mad because she was unloved and lonely.
Oh.
So she used her magic to turn herself into a swarm of dragonflies, of fiery dragonflies. And this was called the Glutwal. The Glutwal was the protector of Kalhatra and the protector of the Burgscneider. And then an old ruler, Meritia, he gifted her to the pestilence. And then the pestilence gifted her to the Black Prince.
Wow,
so
that's a long journey.
Given away and away and away and have no free will.
But I heard a rumor that you betrayed the Black Prince. Is that true?
Yes. And yes, she betrayed the Black Prince because she was knowing that there are rare fragments of the Glutwal there. And when she said she can control this, she said to the Black Prince, I give you the power of the last parts of the Glutwal in the full knowing that when he wants to use the Glutwal, it will all explore and get in every hundreds and thousands of dragonflies around his head, and he cannot handle this. So this was the first betray in all the decades.
Okay, wow. But haven't I seen you in blue makeup before?
Yes, you have. It's the first time I wear red. In my heart, I have the core from Ignis, the last core of Ignis. And I was dying at the black version of the Dragonfly Queen, and gave my core to my rest pieces of Glutwal, so they can use this Ignis fragment to settle down the temple of Ignis here in this land, and be prepared for my reborn.
And what's your greatest joy when portraying this character?
I have always with this character really, really deep and emotional conversations with the players. And all these conversations are so heartwarming.
And how long does it take you to get into costume?
1.5 hours if I'm fast.
What piece of advice would you have for a first-time LARPer coming to an event like this?
Be yourself as much as possible. Everything is so overwhelming, and you need to be yourself to reflect this all, and then you can say, okay, I have some moments and facets of my character, my OT character, that I want to stand in first line. Maybe I'm in my real life not a very conversational person, so I try to be in LARP a talker who sits in a tavern and talks with everybody. Then you can make little steps out of your OT character into an ET character. But the first time, be here, get in a costume, step your foot on the ground, and feel the energy of all these amazing people in the location.
Well, thank you very much for your time. I'll let you get back to your makeup.
Yes.
And we'll see you out on the field.
We'll see ya.
Mic's muted. Woo! Thank you again. Okay, so just to summarize. Summarize. Yeah, no, you've not gone deaf. We've just lost everything. Okay, so to summarize the summary that I was just summarizing. So if you missed the early part, we're sorry for the technical problems. It was down low at the beginning. We will get the video out on YouTube in the coming weeks, so you'll be able to watch it in full. But the early part of that interview was she was saying she was originally a princess of Kalhatra, who was then possessed by grief and loneliness, and she was dejected and I think forced away from society, and then she became a she used her magic, inherent magic, to become a swarm of dragonflies, and then in turn, I think, became the guardian of Kalhatra, but then was bound by pestilence, and then was bound by the Black Dynasty, and she's got this redemption arc that's going on at the moment, she was talking about, where she made a full metamorphosis into the element of Ignis, the element of fire, which is what we saw coming to conclusion in the last Chronicles of Mythodea game. But actually, it's not over, and we're going to see it coming to its final conclusion in JDS, which we are all super excited for, which is super fun. Because let me tell you, JDS is not just a place where the elements are wrapping up, it's a summer holiday. Welcoming the summer, I guess, more into the world.
Yeah.
Welcoming the light the light of Ignis, which hopefully won't burn us all to the ground. Chronicles from Mythodea is moving to a more central location as well. The central location. I can't remember the name of the location, but if you check out our last stream, we do talk about it and we do cite it. And also, you can just go straight to the Scald or Realms of Mythodea site, and it has the location listed there. And just to catch up on things, yes, that is a flambage lurking in the background. That is an early prototype of one of the Warhammer flambages that you've probably seen teaser images for going around the internet. Good times, great tastes. JDS, JDS, we're excited. Summertime, gearing up for summer LARP, summer fun times, and summer action. We actually have a little trailer. We're also going to play this at a low volume in the background, but this is just giving you like an idea. Like you can see, it really is a more town-focused event. It's a community-driven event. So we were talking about LARP, and we were talking about Chronicles of Mythodea being like more of a lot of drama and combat and like that sort of classic Realms of Mythodea. This is kind of that break from it. The break from it in the season before Conquest, where you just soak in the atmosphere and players make player-driven plot. So they play amongst themselves and do all kinds of fun things. And you can bring your own plot to the game for other people to play.
Yeah.
Right?
A little bit of politicking.
Yeah.
Party.
Yeah, there's parties, there's fun times, there's dancing.
Yeah, it's dancing, also to be a Pumpball.
Yeah, Pumpball. Okay, so I don't know if anyone is going to going to JDS and planning to play Pumpball. I had the pleasure of playing in the Dawn and Storm last year, and we did not win. In fact, I don't think we've ever won, but I had a lot of fun playing in that team. 10 out of 10 would do again. Thanks for letting us know, Christina. How was your pronunciation on this one?
I cannot pronounce it. I was pronouncing very bad.
How is it? Hassenheide. Like last week we were getting two lists. This is why we miss Emma.
We need our native German speaker.
Yeah, Emma is our native German speaker, and she correct all of the things.
Okay, just one thing. Just Fred Reimer to ask to us is he wished to have like a 10 hotel because he's at least at JDS and Chronicles because he's a international player, so it's going to be more rental to him. Yeah,
I understand. Look, 10 Hotel is one of those things that is definitely being offered at Conquest.
Yes.
It's not a facility that is set up, but if we have enough people writing in and asking for it, and like obviously thanks for the request, we will absolutely pass that on more directly to our team. But if you want to write that to info, Mike, what's the...
Yeah, so that would be... I'd say you could write that at info@burgschneider.com.
Yeah, info@burgscneider.com, or more poignantly, you can get access to a lot of the people who run the events, the VBs from all of the NSC factions through our Realms of Mythodea Discord, which is still relatively new. So if you're new to LARP, or if you want to like connect with people from overseas before coming to the events here, just like jump in that Realms of Mythodea Discord. We've got links in the in the description of the video and all of these videos below.
Yeah.
It's also available on the website, so you can jump in, and those are forever links, so you should be able to share them around. And if for some reason you don't, the links in the web in our descriptions have expired, just go to the website, and at the bottom there you'll find the link to the Discord.
Just anyway, just come to Discord, speak with the people. There are sometimes that you make like a groups, and someone have like make like a big trend tent, or it make a different individual trends.
Yeah.
Just speak with them. They are more than welcome to help it to you.
Yeah, they absolutely go out that way.
And also, there are international groups over there, so yes, for everybody.
International Facebook group.
True.
And you can coordinate as well through there. But
Conquest International.
yeah, with the smaller events, my advice is like hook up with an NSC faction.
Yeah. Normally they used to have some options to bring it out, but we put in that request in the future.
Okay. So just coming back to your question, Zvolf, is that this is the first time we're at a location. It's a new location for us. This is the Chronicles mythodea location. And look, we have high hopes. I've personally surveyed the location with other event teams. The wonderful Eva took us on a tour. But if it works out, if it is a good location, because it seems to be everything we want it to be, apart from obviously it doesn't work for everyone location-wise, but if it's the right location for this, then we will stay there. It does only have a capacity of 3,000 people, so if Chronicles mythodea grows beyond that, then it's likely we will be looking for another location, or just go a few years selling out the event until we find another more suitable location. But maybe is the answer to your question. Sorry for being a bit roundabout, but it's what it is. Actually, I defer the question to Emma.
We miss her a lot.
Yeah.
Emma?
Emma, say something.
Don't be so mean, Emma. These people, we're trying to be real nice to these people here.
Always the life of the party.
Yes, it is.
Forever the life of the party. So yeah, look, JDS, but one of the things that we are asking ourselves, and we're going to ask you guys as well, and I've got some ideas, but if you were going to make a player-generated plot to bring to something like JDS, okay, where the plots aren't always being facilitated, there's some stuff that's happening, but a lot of it's player-generated, you know? So a player-generated plot is where you bring your own player character, but embedded in your own player character is like a little puzzle of a game, and you could bring clues and hints and ways to sort of bring people in and to play with other people and to make play with other people. Which is not just a JDS thing, it happens in all of the games, and you're always invited to do that, but JDS is the place where you can really sort of flex your muscles. Mike, I want to hear from you first.
All right, so I thought about this a little bit. I think if I were going to JDS, my story would be I'd be a wizard's apprentice, and he had a barrel of this potion. But he mixed it up with a local tavern. So I have to go to every single tavern and sample all of the drinks to find the potion. And yeah, I might get a bit tipsy along the way.
That sounds really fun.
Okay, Nico, what's your big idea?
Well, it's not really big. I try to make it as simple for everybody. Just make it the typical Outlander traveler. And just hey, this is a new place, a new location. What is this world? And start to just asking people. And also just interact, especially with the NPCs. Of course, as a traveler, I used to use a gear for armor and pretend myself. And depending on the situation, they will change it. But normally, we're just doing Outlander, traveler, discover a new world. It's the general idea that I used in it. Of course, the background for this character used to be he loved to be in parties. It also used to have a lot of drinks. Probably I will meet you in that place.
Probably. Quite fast.
Probably I will enjoy your crusade as a security guard, maybe.
I think after maybe the fourth tavern, I might need it a little bit.
I don't know. I think I will die in the second one. I think it's gonna happen something like that. Yeah, that is the normal thinking, and it's making me a lot of options to interact with everybody, and it's easy to catch it up. That is always my objective: is discover what happened in the world. So
I think discovery. Okay. Yeah. So I really enjoyed a lot of the so there's a lot of player-made play that happens. Some of it's saucy under-the-counter play that we can't talk about. So and some of it's stuff that is really, really, really interesting about sort of having people dressed up in animal costumes, reliving like various fighting scenes, because obviously we can't have animals fighting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But like I think what would be really cool, my idea for some player generated interaction is I'd want to get a group of people together and I'd like want to play like a chicken herder who herded roosters, okay? But my roosters had escaped. Okay.
Oh no.
And I'd get a group of people in these rooster outfits, okay, and they would be running wild all over the place, and I'd be, oh dang it! And I'd just be like a farmer or something. My hens have escaped, or my roosters have escaped, or dang it, my pigs are running wild.
One silver is over catcher.
Yeah,
It'd
yeah.
be like a perfect like MMO quest line kind of, where it's just like, can you bring me back my roosters?
Yes, my wayward roosters, please save me. They're lonely, and one of them would have like different characters.
Yeah.
One of them would be like super feisty, and then one of them would be super sweet, and the person would like find them. They would want to give them back, and I'd offer them a reward, but maybe they wouldn't. Yeah.
I would be basically the people who guys are like, hey, this guy is running for this roster. They start to comment in the background. So character number 1 is trying to run an end, and then he's trying to catch an end. Oh no, he's failed now. He's
Okay, so races, yeah, because they have these games. They're not official, obviously, because players run them. But boy, there's a lot of fun and there's a lot of play around them, which is cool.
Yeah, it's really enjoyable event. Yeah, it's just the thing that I like it to these kind of events is make me taste something new.
Ooh, speaking of tasting something new, now we don't have a full list of vendors, but there are some. I actually do have a full list of vendors, but JDS always has some really great food options going on. Yeah.
Sorry. It's just this comment that I love it. It's like people say like cheese and chickens sounds like a little bit of Fable, lol.
Oh, yeah, very, very Fable.
Yeah.
Like, Fable 2, forever.
Yeah.
But look, there's some of my favorites. I'm not going to go into them all in detail this time. Next time, we'll actually get some like little pictures up, and we'll tell you who's going to be there. But there's some great food stalls. Some of my like all-time favorites. We're going to have like McHonest and their wares and their frozen slushies, because summer vacation, you got to have your frozen slushies and alcoholic versions as well for those adults. It's a family event, but you don't have to bring your family. Sus Creamerie. We love those guys. They are a candy dealer, and they sell all kind of nice candy, and they are super, super sweet and super in-timey. They're like, I love them so much because they are always game for game. Like, there are vendors who are there to like, sell their wares and like get them out into the world, and they're cool, and sometimes they're amazing craftsmen and they do good stuff. But then there are some vendors who just like take it to the next level, and they bring game, like we were talking about in player generated plot. That's like so cool.
Yeah, this is good. Also, there's some vendors just make some game interaction with the rest of the people. That's something amazing, especially with the I do not remember the name of these guys, but it was one little tent that was sending some drinks. Yeah, and they push you to make like a plating with them, and or try to convince him that I like a little trick, and they give you a little taste for drinking for free. The problem is if you are really good acting or you are really good performance, you're gonna get drunk with it.
And then they're gonna kick you out.
I love it. I love these kind of people. They always got in my heart. It's super funny.
And we're going to be going, like, so just to let you know, we will be looking at all of these vendors in details over the next couple of weeks as we lead into JDS. It's super exciting. But there are also like tailors, there are makers, there are arrow sellers, all kinds of good things. And also, one of the things that has been my favorite interactions, it's not advertised in the list of vendors, but there are some people who just do flow markets. There are lots of people who trade. I hear there's a crazy lady out there who sells frog prints that she's drawn, and I may have it on good authority that there will be some Pumpball themed frog prints going this year at JDS. Yeah. I was lucky enough to have a Pumpball frog on my Pumpball uniform last year at JDS.
So what exactly is Pumpball?
That's a very good question. Surprising you up. Well, let me tell you, Pumpball is a game for 2 teams to play on a field. Now, it's a small field, so I'd say it's like a half basketball court size field. All right, so it's maybe 2/3. it's grass. Where they play it at JDS is actually on a slight hill. So the teams swap halfway so that the advantage of being on the top or the bottom rotates. And then there's a goal at either end. And it's very much like an ice hockey sized goal. Maybe a little bit bigger. It's not like a full-size soccer goal. And then there are 2 teams of 5. The teams can actually be up to 12 or more players in a team, but 5 from each side are on the pitch at any one time. And there is a inflated ball about the size of my head, maybe more about the size of Nico's head, a little smaller even. Yeah. Yeah. That's correct. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of if I move back, Nico moves forwards. Yeah, actually didn't. Yeah, we should next week. We'll bring the ball. Yeah, we'll show you. But and then you take these sticks, these pump sticks, which are these big sort of long wooden poles about the size of a hockey stick, and they got a buffer on the top of it. Yeah. And the goal is much like hockey, where you're trying to knock the ball from one end of the field to the other. You're not allowed to hold the ball in your hand. You are allowed to kick the ball, I believe. But not extensively, and you're not allowed to. So this is what I got caught out by the most when I was playing Pumpball the first time. Is you're not allowed to lift the pump above shoulder height because they don't want you to accidentally swing it around and smack someone in the head. Which means any shots that you're going for where a ball's coming down from up high, you sort of like can't pick it up. You got to sort of bunt it and get it sort of in this position where you're controlling it all, like below the shoulders. It's obviously for safety purposes. And it's a very fast-paced game that's played in probably about 20 minutes per game, or 20 to 30 minutes, where it's like 10 minutes, one team is on one side trying to shoot down, and then they swap sides over like a 5 to 10 minute break. But the judges are all players. It's not run by the organization. There's all kinds of skullduggery. Sometimes there are pitch invasions. Sometimes there are if you get caught with a weapon, you'll get sent off. You might not be allowed on. If you get caught fouling, you might be forced to like do push-ups. You can apparently bribe the referees or the judges. Like this is like it's all no holds barred.
There is a lot of space to play on it.
Some shenanigans going on.
Yeah, there's the play. And then there's the play.
Touche.
Around the play. So politics. We were talking about politics.
Yes. Okay, just until we go to the next, we have two questions. They say when the question is, there isn't any chance of changing the conquest taste back to when they used to be?
Look, unfortunately, we can't directly answer that question. Conquest generally shifts according to sort of its cycles and the availability of the grounds. So from what I'm aware of, we're just like at the mercy of the grounds. We do have good relationships with the Conquest grounds. Also, I am a LARP baby in Germany.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't actually know when it used to be in the year. I feel like it's earlier this year than it was last year, but I think, oh no, actually I know why it changes. It changes sometimes because they're always trying to tie in with other events that are happening around the same time. Because like there's Dragonfest like the week beforehand, or sometimes a week or two beforehand, and sometimes that works out. People will go from one convention to the other, but then sometimes there are other big events or other occurrences that will happen. That will
to make the facility to people just get travel and to have to run, get safety and stuff like that.
Yeah, and like ultimately it is what it is. I don't know. Again, lots of maybes. But I do know that there are a lot of factors that go into determining when the date is set. And typically the date is set like within a month or two at most of the conclusion of the conquest. Like absolutely by the end of November at the latest, all of the bookings and all of the times are made. Because I think 2 weeks after conquest, I know this for sure, the trailer releases for the tickets for the next year's conquest. So if the dates aren't locked in by then, yeah, I'm sorry. Again, a big maybe.
Yeah, we apologize for this kind of loss. That is unfortunately we cannot say in the moment the right date, and also is out of our hands. So we try to do our best but it's quite hard to fix everybody.
Yeah, we will relay what information.
Yes, we have it. We relate it, but we are able.
Yes. And it's crazy, right? Because we are still sitting very much at the beginning of the LARP season, right? It feels like it's just beginning, but we're already like, for us at least, for Burgschneider and the Realms of Mythodea in-house events, there's the Sturmbox is done.
Yep. Chronicles.
Chronicles is done.
JDS is 2 weeks out.
JDS is 2 weeks out, and then it's Conquest, like scarcely a month after that. It is crazy. Not to mention all of the other LARP events, because so many LARP events just take place in the summer. Like there's the Realms of Mythodea community events. There's, all.
It's time to run.
But it's also time to gear up.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And just get ready and like get the gear that you need and get it in order, because like we're all going to be getting into it pretty soon.
Yeah.
And if you don't have your kit in order, refurbish those shoes. My advice: take the shoes. I got this amazing pair of shoes. They're like thigh-high leather riding boots. They're amazing. They got a couple of holes in them. I've got to get them into the cobbler before I hit Conquest, and I'm running all over that battlefield.
Yes.
But what it does is it takes me back. It takes me back to the first time I was LARPing.
Once upon a time.
And I guess like we want to hear from you guys. Like, what was it like for you the first time you went LARPing? I mean, Mike.
So for me, I had a lot of help. So it's I like to consider this person Julia, my fairy LARP mother, because she kind of helped me put a costume together, or a kit together, and it was. So I had a lot of like support along the way, because I think I'm definitely like the greenest one here of the three of us. So for me, it was just kind of learning how to interact, learning kind of like I was doing a lot of observing, and actually played the role of like a little scribe. So I was like writing down, and but it was, I think for me it was a bit of a learning curve, just kind of stepping into like the role of another character. And I think that it was what the Dragonfly Queen actually said before about her advice to someone starting out is like being yourself, which sounds kind of counterintuitive with LARP, where you want to step into another role, but it's just about basically, getting in the kit and getting on the ground, and then just basically getting your bearings before you kind of gradually step into another role. And I think that's what it was like for me too. I
think it was a great suggestion, because if you're a newbie, or just a person is a beginner, it's good to be in like that. Meanwhile, you're getting the flow of the events, especially for that, because sometimes some events happen very suddenly, and people try to think, oh, what is my character do? Sometimes you're getting blocked and stop. It's normal. Don't get stressed or don't get fear about that. But keeping in mind that try to be yourself in that situation, it will make you flow a little bit better, a little bit smooth.
Will ground you a bit, I think. It gives you something to fall back on.
Okay, well, what about you then, Nico, with your first LARP experience?
Oof. Okay, we're speaking many years ago.
In another country.
Exactly. Well, it was in Spain. It was a little group. We were around 30, 50 maximum.
Okay.
And I started as a priest, because I in that moment I don't have any gear, I have nothing, and one of my friends bring me like a priest monk habit, I think is the correct word, and I started to play with them and try to interact. I was really shy. There is no point of comparing that I am right now playing, but in that moment it was like super shy. I don't know how to speak, and a lot of people shouted to me. I was just getting scared and stuff like that. And then I jumped to Germany. Okay. Which is feel way better.
Way better? Why so?
It's just in my personal. It's a personal opinion. Get way better just because people take the passion to wait for me. It's not uncommon, but just people are like waiting to your reaction, and then
so people are playing for each other.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
That's something magical. It helped me a lot. And then with the year, and then I make my own plot. It's like, haha, and play whatever I want every year. I used to play something different every year. I said because sorry, if you want to me on Conquest, please enjoy my new company and try to make a messenger company. So come here, enjoy me. We will. The plan is record most of the campers that we have.
Okay.
And we try to be the messenger of the place.
Okay, so this is what you're doing at Conquest this year.
Yes.
You're going to be a messenger service.
Yes.
All right. So if you need messages delivered, like find this guy. This is the head you're looking for when you want to get it all happening.
If you wanted to enjoy me, come.
Yeah. Please. This is you're going to be competing against the Crimson Sales Company.
That's exactly. That would be the fun.
Apparently, they always deliver.
Yes,
That's a pretty stiff competition there.
it's a pretty stiff competition, but I got plans.
No plans. What about your first LARP?
Yeah, okay, cool. So, good question. I think so. I was Australia, okay, and this was pre-internet revolution. But my father, I think I was like 13 or something like that, and my father had been overseas for like a work trip one time, and he came back and he brought me two things. First thing was a plastic box of Imperial Space Marines, the 36 pointy beak guys, Mark 6 armor. And then he brought me a small, like photocopied publication that was a catalog for a company called Labyrinth. And Labyrinth was an English company, and they had like a dungeon. And they had a catalog for like latex weapons, and you could sign up and you could walk through, and they had this like GM'd kind of like experiences, and they had shots. And then I found like Dragon magazine, and Dragon magazine had like all these amazing pictures of like European LARPs, and I was like, man, this is the coolest thing in the world. Where are we doing this? Why are we not doing this in Australia? And then I got my friends together, everyone we could scrape together. I think we had like maybe about 20 people to start with, and we went out into the not undangerous Australian wasteland. So the national park areas in Sydney, New South Wales, and we got dressed up in crazy costumes. We had like cow skulls stuck to our heads. We made this like foam armor. We would cast like pommels for latex swords in lead. This was back in the age of like tape weapons and early latex weapons. And we would do it very much like Labyrinth would do it. We'd run games mastered scenarios where we'd have like 20 people. So we'd have like 3 or 4 people playing the adventuring party, one person playing the games master who would go like along a bushwalking trail or like a non-linear play area. And then we'd have one person who was the head monster, and everyone else was playing the bad guys. And some of them were dynamic talking encounters on the trail. We'd set and make traps in the bushland, not with real spiders.
Good.
Yeah, it was fun. I was very much a driver in that situation. I had come from a background of playing a lot of fighting fantasy novels and early Dungeons and Dragons and Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay First Edition. Possibly one of my all-time favorite role-playing games, still to this day. And that was it. And then I guess it was much later I got into running LARPs at Australian conventions and the whole World of Darkness LARP community that exploded in the 90s. And I think after 10 years of running those games, I didn't want to play another vampire game in my entire life. But then, like, again, always having that memory in my mind of the Dragon magazines and seeing how the fantasy LARP worked in Europe. And all this time I was doing stuff in Australia, they were just growing and growing and growing. And I just bit the bullet a few years ago. I'm like, I'm going to go to the world's largest LARP.
Yay!
And
we're here.
And here I am, and I never went back. But it's cool because there's so many new facilities. There's so many more facilities in this day and age for like really sort of getting in and getting on board. And one of the facilities that I guess Burgschneider offers is a whole brand called Live Action Basics. It's not a huge range, but what it does, and I'll just put up a little slideshow while we're talking about it, is it offers you a bunch of really fundamental Burgscneider like LARP kit, like from armor to gambesons to pants to googles, and like, yeah, it's not the fanciest thing in the world. There's the weapons in there's a couple of basic swords, but if you just
want to dip your toes in and just think like, maybe I want to give this a try, then it's a very cost-effective way to just get a kit together.
Yeah.
And you can build from it too in the future. So if you want to eventually expand on the kit that you've built and kind of build a new character or go a different way, you can definitely like use these different pieces and mix and match and build something unique for you. You can also weather these pieces. So you have some tunics that are white that you can dye, or you can weather them to make them look more lived in.
Yeah, it's for the LARP curious.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think the large faction basics is really good for something easy, but also for the people who like to modify. I think it's a good canvas to start.
Okay, so if you were putting together a kit from this year, like what would you put together?
Well, I'm gonna take the Gambis. I love Gambis. I'm Gambi dude.
The short sleeve gambits.
Yes, the short sleeve Gambis.
So
Typical short Gambison, basic, and of course a good pair of boots. It will be for me. And I need to think it twice. Probably I will take the shoulder blades and brace. And I figure it out after that. Because probably I will die and modify it, probably.
Yeah.
So according to how I feel in that moment, I will add more stuff. And also because I got some belts too, so I need to add, touch them, blah, 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 blah. And basic sword.
Okay.
Black one to be
basic
specific.
swords are good. I actually heard a rumor that those basic swords, if anyone who watched the Easter egg for anyone who watched last week's streams, but those basic swords may be upgraded soon to some of the stuff we were talking about, maybe not in last week's stream, but on the very first stream that we did. It's shaky. We were all nervous as hell because it was our first. It was our first time in front of everyone.
We're still rookies.
But there were a couple of cool things that we showed off there because we were talking about the RPV aftermath, and one of those is some prototypes which may be replacing some of those live action basic swords. That said, those live action basic swords are solid.
Yeah.
They're like cheap as heck, pretty sturdy, and easy to modify if you want the specifics.
And you don't be feared if you get like broke. They're really resist. They're really strong. Like not for hit people, I mean like it will be resist the environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think with live action basics, I mean the whole goal is to really have the barrier to entry as low as possible, so that as many people that think like I'd like to give this a go, but I just don't have the money for a kit.
Yeah.
They have a place to get started.
Yeah. And for me, yes, absolutely. Big Cow 1292. I'm absolutely also have one of those pirate shirts.
Yeah.
It is a staple. And that's the thing, right? It's like no matter how big your LARP like cupboard grows, your LARP like wardrobe grows, there are still those basics that you go back to. And they're just good. They're just there. They'll go under everything.
Yeah, they're basic for a reason.
They're basic for a reason. Basic essentials. Some people might even say essentials.
It's a good foundation.
Yeah, it's a good thing. But I'm more of a. How about you, Mike? What would you put together from this range?
Yeah, so I think the pirate shirt's actually a really solid choice. I definitely would want a cowl, just because I feel like you can always use a cowl for something.
It's like a sun hat, and it keeps you, and the beanie all wrapped in one, and a scarf.
Yeah, and an umbrella.
And an umbrella. It's like everything, right? The basics.
Yeah, definitely one of the swords for sure.
Good boots, always.
boots.
I always support have a good pair of boots, please.
Yeah.
Please doing it.
And also just like the armor as well. I think also for the cost, I think that the armor, it's incredible.
It's crazy. Like the first time I looked at the live action basics section, I'm like, okay, cool. Because I was recently putting together a lot of the NSC kits. So as an NSC player, when you have an NSC ticket, you get access to a discount on certain items that are associated with your faction. And there are, I was like looking through the armor that we have in Burgschneider, and I was like, oh, I'll check out the live action basics, and maybe we can throw some of that in. And when I looked at the costs on them, it's like, whoa, this is like crazy cheap. Like really, those things. And I think for me, I would absolutely put together an armor look. I really like the breastplate. It's like that sort of really nice standard sort of 15th to 16th century breastplate when armor's starting to phase out. I like the gauntlets, and I like the shoulders. Like they're just like the shoulders, because the gauntlets, you just like, I always have so much problems when I'm buying a gauntlet, just trying to find ones that are paired with the right glove size. But with those gauntlets, they're just like a demi gauntlet. So they go over the top of your hand and your wrist. So you can wear any glove you want, and it just slides into place, which is good. And I like the shoulders. I like the points on them. I think that they're really cool. I incorporated the breastplate into the Crimson Sails Company basic setup because it's sort of very kind of English Civil War kind of. It's not like right there, but it's close to being that kind of silhouette.
A little like Age of Exploration.
Yeah, really, really, they're branching out there, and that's kind of what Crimson Trails Company is all about.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about now. We're going to do a shallow dive. Shallow dive. Was it good? So, as we are not the plot team, we have decided that we are not fully licensed to do deep dives into the NSC factions.
Yeah.
These are the new NSC factions, or at least the NSC factions that will be featuring heavily at Conquest this year. Over the next few weeks,
Which in like future episodes, you can expect some deep dives when we have Fiona, our lore master,
yes,
just go deeper into it.
absolutely. But for us, we're just gonna do some shallow dives. Shallow dives.
A little bit better that time.
Yeah. We're getting there. Next episode, we're gonna be awesome. Into some of the NSC factions that you are like to. Hey, Eva. Hey.
Sorry, he's my favorite person.
Yeah, we love Eva. And Luna, also very cool. Big shout out.
Best kid ever.
So every episode for the coming weeks leading up to Conquest, we're gonna do a shallow dive, shallow dive into one of the new NSC factions, or old NSC factions, and we did Vibalia last week. So if you want to go and check that out, we haven't time coded the video yet, but I believe it's around the midpoint. You can skip through. There is a slideshow. And this week we're looking at the Crimson Sales Company. Now, the Crimson Sales Company is not a brand new faction. They have been around for a few years now, but they were one of the first factions to come over from Sarkhan because they are able to navigate the seas. And I don't know if you guys know. So in the world of Mythosphere, which is the world that we play LARPs in the realms of Mythodia, so in the world of
Mythodia. The Mythosphere is the continent.
Okay. Mythodia.
Yeah.
The world.
Yeah.
Mythosphere is the old continent where the game has been playing for 20 years. Sarkhan is the new continent where we are going to in Conquest this year. But for the last few years, some factions have been coming through from Sarkhan, and a lot of this is to do with the fact that the Crimson Sales Company are able to chart a course through the mists, because there was a mist that surrounded Mythosphere and isolated it from the rest of the world. And so they started dealing with and engaging with the old factions and the player factions. And I'll throw in a little slideshow while we are talking about this. So essentially, so this, just a caveat about this is that all the photos here are mostly from the beta test, which is where a lot of the new factions came together to really get their interactive play going on, to build the dynamics between one faction and another, so people started to get used to it. But as you can see by a lot of the costuming that's going on in these pictures, the Crimson Sales Company are very nautical themed. There's a lot of captains. This is the picture. Actually, I'll pause this for a second. So this is the picture that represents more truly the Crimson Sales Company. There's a bunch of English-speaking players who have been playing the game and playing this faction for a few years now, and doing like really what is quite a good job of it. But then we saw it expand in the beta faction, in the beta test, and we sort of see some of the more interesting concepts around the faction play out, and some other players sort of play some ideas and play into the ideas around the faction. And the faction are a trading company, a big trading company that spans across Sarkhan into Mythosphere, so another continent beyond Mythosphere. And they are made up, and they come from a place called the Crimson Isles, which is a collection of islands from which they built their sailing and trade empire.
Yeah, it's like good traders. I got a couple of experience with them last year, so it was kind of interesting.
You could say they're a little similar to like the East India Trade Company.
Yeah. They may or may not be as dubious as the East India Trade Company, but they've definitely got a very appealing public face.
Yes, correct.
They are always an English-speaking faction. So if we touched on this last week, but so all of the quest giving and all of the interactions that they have is in English, and preferably with English-speaking players or players who prefer to speak English or feel more comfortable speaking English. Yeah. They are also quest givers and facilitators. So you can either approach them and interact with them as a player character, or you can become a player character that is a part of that faction. And it's a really cool way just to slide in and get involved in the game. Grab yourself some live action basics, sign up as a player who's a member of the Crimson Sales Company, and you will have no shortage of activities and things to do.
Yeah, it gives you structure.
Yeah, this is it's a good touch feeling, I think. These guys are also, they are really cool, they're really good. I mean, like, they will be soft. It's a soft landing, I think I can say that.
Yeah, it's a good way to sort of get in, and like the Dragonfly Queen was saying earlier in the episode, it's like, start by being yourself, be a neutral party, because you can be just like a faceless sailor or a marine or, you know, a boat hand. There are a bunch of different kind of roles that you can take on.
Or someone that just wants to pay off their debt.
Gotta pay off your debt. Join the Crimson Sales Company. I mean, it's not like it's for life. Or is it?
Or isn't it?
Emma.
We bring it alive next week.
Yeah, don't worry. We got some necromancers working on this as we speak.
Yeah.
So it's a nautically themed. It's very up there. A lot of the play that you get with the Crimson Sales Company is like running messages, doing errands, doing some skullduggery, subterfuge, espionage. They're monetary traders as well as information traders. So it's a great way to be sent off to meet other player factions, meet other new NSC factions.
Maybe learn a secret or two.
Ooh, gotta have a secret in your pocket. You can't trade nothing without a secret. Secrets are worth everything.
Information has value.
Yeah, information has value. Absolutely, absolutely. So very, very cool. And look,
Say something. Sorry.
what are you gonna say?
I just write out something. Emma, say something.
Emma, say something. Why isn't Emma talking? She's so silent. Don't worry, I hear you, Emma. I hear you even now. Yeah. What? But look, if you want to take it from one of the guys who's actually in the Crimson Sales Company, I was also lucky enough at Sturmwacht earlier this year to sit down with Antoine, who's one of the NSCs in the Crimson Sales Company, and do a little interview. I will try and hit the volume to make sure it's nice and loud this time. But yeah, let's see what he has to say. Name and character name.
My name is Antoine. I'm from France, and my character name right now is Just Rick.
Okay. And how many characters are you playing in LARPs at the moment?
3.
Oh. And of these 3 characters, which is the most enjoyable?
I love playing William Whitebird right now of the Crimson Sales Company. It's an NPC for that LARP and other LARPs that you're organizing.
And what brings you the greatest joy when playing in LARPs?
I like giving, actually. That's a nice thing about being an NPC, is that you're playing along with the others, and you're actually getting the story out and trying to be there to lift the play of the others, and that's actually nice because you get so much in return. So.
And you're an NSC?
Yes, I am.
You always play an NSC?
No, not always, but a lot. Yes.
Okay. And what's your greatest challenge when playing an NSC?
I guess that you have to give the right amount of information and the right amount of interaction so that you have engagement, but you cannot like spill out the beans completely from day one. So you have to kind of find the balance of getting it out there, but slowly but surely. So I guess that's the greatest challenge.
And what piece of advice would you give to a first-time LARP player?
Have a watch.
Have a watch. Good piece of
Have
advice.
a watch just to make sure, because, well, lots is happening and it's super dense.
And is there an article of LARP clothing that you own that you wear in your daily life?
No, not really.
And what kind of shoes do you wear when you LARP?
It depends on the LARP. If it's a summer LARP, then it's very LARPable shoes. That is to say, one that goes really with the costume, but here in the super winter time, it's like because it's like -10 or something outside. So no medieval shoes now.
Well, and what question would you ask somebody else who is sitting for this interview?
What makes you come back? What makes you come back to your next LARP, basically?
And that's a good question.
Yeah.
Thanks, William.
Thank you.
And lovely. Yeah, he's a real sweet guy. I believe he has a hobby of going out and doing skiing and shooting. Which is very Crimson Sales Company appropriate. Less the skiing. If we can imagine it's sailing and shooting, that's very Crimson Sales Company.
Yeah.
It's
It's really amazing. I think people is already, apparently people know him. It's like, and also Christina said they love these interviews to the people.
There are more coming. We did a whole bunch of interviews like this at Stumbucked, and they're enjoying the format. So I think we're going to look at getting the sound improved, do a bunch more, and some of the ones that we've had in the past that we've shot, we will slowly release as we go forwards, because some of them just become relevant according to what we're talking about on any given episode, and having a point of reference is cool. And I feel it's a better format than just, you know, releasing them all at once.
Yeah.
Just getting them out slowly. It's a little reward.
Yeah, and also it's pretty kind that people like to speak with us, to sharing all the information and also the experience that they have it in field.
Yeah.
So all the people that came to us and wanted to speak to us early, thank you so much. We appreciate it a lot.
It's so good. And I think it's really invaluable to have that kind of information going out there in an interview format, because from the outside, when you're looking at LARP and you're looking at people often in these amazing costumes, right, playing what seem to be these amazing roles, you forget that they are actually people just like you, doing stuff just like you could, you know. And you don't like the Dragonfly Queen said, you don't have to be perfect, you don't have to be amazing, you just got to put yourself in there, start doing it, find your feet.
Also, a lot of these really intricate kits that didn't get that way from the first year. Like it really took a lot of time and trial and error and just building on.
Yeah, everything is go with practice. And I always in the past we say, be like water, just let it flow. It's fine.
Yeah,
you
like
cannot broke it, so everything is okay.
Yeah, you cannot break it. That's actually an interview that comes from an interview with Ruth, which I don't believe we have yet played, but we might see it at some point soon. And just get involved. You cannot break it.
Very wise words from Ruth.
Yeah, very wise. Very wise words from Ruth. Yeah. But you know what? Unfortunately, with all that said, it's kind of bringing us to
avoid
the
the
end
ditches
of our.
I still reading people sorry, avoid the ditch.
Avoid the ditches. Yeah. Look, it's just don't get me started. Don't worry, we'll get onto the ditches. We'll get onto the ditches when we talk about the undead flesh.
Oh yeah.
Shallow dive. Shallow dive. Which will happen in the not too distant future. But
Sorry, my apologies.
Guys, it's been awesome. It's been super cool to have you guys here. If you're interested in anything that we've been talking about, jump into the socials, all linked below. Like the video, subscribe to our channel.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Keep an eye out for new videos that are coming up. This is a great place to sort of really, we're trying to compile a bunch of information about like getting into LARP here and just be a place where you can ask questions.
Everybody is more than welcome to come.
Answer what we can. But we are also super excited for next week. We have some huge announcements coming in next week's stream to do with elements of Mythodea that are really cool, and elements of Conquest in particular. There'll be a few more videos coming up, possibly some more interviews. If you are a person who is interested in talking to us, we're always looking for people. Like if you're going to be in Frankfurt sometime and you want to come join us on the stream, let us know. We're not going to guarantee, but hey, we might let you come on board, especially if you're somebody who wants to talk about LARP. And who knows, if you're listening to us on this stream, you might be someone who's interested in LARP or historical clothing or historical weapons,
or reenactment.
Like this is this is an exercise in us really flexing our wings and sharing what Burgscneider enjoys, which is historical clothing, historical fashion, fantasy clothing, fantasy fashion. If you're an artist or an illustrator or a game designer, or you're involved in any of the community LARPs or an independent LARP that's running, that's what we're here to do. We're really interested to hear from you. Write emails to info@burgscneider.com. It's not in the description right now as of release, but we're going to rectify that. And really, thank you so much for your time. Yeah, absolutely. If not, just hassle us next week on the stream. Thanks again for your time, guys. Thanks to Nico. Thanks to Mike. Stay tuned. Stay awesome.
Yeah, Emma.
Thanks. Thanks, Emma.
Yeah.
You're always like your contribution to these streams is forever.
We appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's so good. Yeah. Emma is forever in our hearts and minds.
Yeah.
And as we depart today's stream, I'd like everyone to take a moment to thank Emma for their ongoing contribution.
Thank you. It was amazing today. It was the best character in this area
thing
right
that
now.
we've ever done.
Yeah.
So good.
In the eyes of an angel.
In the eyes of an angel. Peace out.